So many people start the year vowing to take a break from drinking, and often that is in the form of dry January or dry-annuary, whatever you want to call it. So now, with the month nearly over, the big question is, what are you going to do next? In this video, I want to speak to 3 different experiences. So perhaps this month has gone great for you and you've done it all alcohol-free, but you're not sure that you want to quit for good yet. Or maybe you've stayed sober, but you've been counting down to this point and you cannot wait to drink again because you proved that you don't have a problem, right? Or maybe you actually didn't make it through the month and you've been feeling pretty bad about that. No matter where you fall within those 3 different camps, I've got some things to share with you today that I think you might not have thought of yet. And this video isn't about telling you what you should or shouldn't do or have to do. There are no shoulds and haves around here. It is your life. You can choose to do whatever you want. But it does feel powerful to move forward with intention, knowing that you've thought about where you're at and what you want to do next, rather than just kind of drifting along. So, first of all, if you are in the, wow, I've really nailed dry January and I feel really good, but oh my God, what is next? Quitting forever? If you're in that camp, then let's talk about that. Because it's great that you had a good experience this month, but it's also totally normal that you're not ready to announce to the world, that's it, I'm done, I'm never drinking again. We live in a world that likes to put people in boxes. So you either drink or you don't, or if you're not drinking, you need to have a good reason for it, like dry January or being pregnant or driving or something. But actually, things don't need to be that black and white. And telling yourself now that you are going to quit forever is actually pretty pointless because it's so overwhelming, your brain can't visualize that and it doesn't take you to a good place. So what I recommend for you is setting another short-term goal that you can work towards. This is what I'll be doing with the women who are currently on my Getting Unstuck course. We'll be doing this very soon. They started working with me this month. Their course finishes in mid-Feb, so we'll be assessing how they're feeling in that final week and setting another doable goal for them, if that's what they want to do. A good next goal to work towards is 100 days. I recommend that because a lot of good things start happening around that 100-day point. The hard, tough, crappy days of early sobriety when everything is new and different and hard, those days are behind you, and you start to get onto the good bit of it. And I think you deserve to experience that because then you will know what alcohol-free living is really like. And in my opinion, after 31 days of sobriety, you don't really know. All you've really done is make it through some of the hardest weeks. You haven't actually got onto the good bit yet, so you don't know what that's like. All right, so that was one person. Moving on, if you are one of those people who has made it through dry January so far, but my God, you've been counting down to the end, counting down until you can have a drink, a guilt-free drink, because you feel you proved that everything is fine and you definitely don't have a problem, then I see you, friend, because I've done the same. And yeah, of course, you can do whatever you want to do next. It's your life. But I did want to offer some thoughts here. Having done the same thing myself in the past, I would often try and take several weeks off from drinking in order to prove to myself that everything was fine, like fine. And then I go back to drinking the way I've been drinking before. And I'll flag something up for you. The first few times you drink, you might not have as much because your tolerance to alcohol will be very low. So it can feel then briefly as if you've mastered moderation, but things will slide back to where they were before. It does happen. Anyway, here's my tip for you. Have a think about what it is that you believe you're missing out on. Why are you so desperate to go back to drinking? There's clearly some benefit to it that you think you're being deprived of when you don't drink. So what is that thing? And then I just want you to play a little game here and imagine that you've got to argue the other side of the story for a while. So, for example, if you think, well, the thing is, Kate, I can't go out and have fun if I'm not drinking, then I want you to flip that around and look for the opposite evidence for a while. So take a moment to reflect on those times when you have gone out, you have drunk a lot, and you haven't had a good time. Or those moments when you've been having loads of fun out and about with people and actually you weren't drinking. Or what about checking out some non-drinkers online? Like, come and follow me on Instagram. Do I look like I'm living a really boring life, like never having a good time when I go out? Your brain is so lazy. It's wired to tell you these same old thoughts over and over again. It is wired to look for evidence that supports the beliefs that you already have. So all I'm saying here is, just before you jump off that cliff and go back to drinking, why not take a moment to take your brain off autopilot and spend a little time challenging some of those lazy sentences that are running around your head, pretending to be facts. All right, the final thing I want to talk about today is what to do if you intended to be sober this month, but you crashed and burned. I want you to know that the exact same thing happened to me in 2013. I did dry January for a week before giving up. And I was doing it with a group of friends who all made it through the whole month, and I had to pretend that I was still doing it too. So it felt really, really horrible. But do you know what else also happened to me in 2013? Later that year, I quit for good. And I'm going to be celebrating 10 years sober in April this year. Can't believe it. So if you need a reminder that all is not lost, that you can turn things around and this year is not going to be a write-off for you, then I am it. I am living proof of that. So if you want to dust yourself off and, try again, then great. But I do recommend you get some support. Addiction thrives in isolation. So doing this stuff on your own can be really, really tough. Go and get yourself on the wait list for my next Getting Unstuck course. So we can work together, I can get to know you, put a plan in place, give you a focused community and a space to get coached whenever you need it. And if you're not ready to try again just yet, that's also fine. But please do this one thing. Start keeping a diary. Set a reminder on your phone so you remember to write a sentence or two about how you're feeling morning and night. Do this every day, regardless of whether you've been drinking or not. This is about tracking your mood. Because our minds are notoriously unreliable and we often forget and overlook stuff like this. But by writing it down, you're going to gather really important data about how alcohol is affecting you. And that will be incredibly useful information to have when you're ready to take action again. Drinking affects our lives in all kinds of sneaky ways. And you don't always see the truth of it until you can stand back, look through your notes and really take it all in. So that's what I had to say today. Now I'd love to hear about your experience this month. What has it been like for you? Where are you at with alcohol-free living right now? What's your next goal if you have one? What have you learned this month? Let me know in the comments below and I hope you have a great week.